Sorry
Not
about
hearing.
that, Craig. I had my
Yeah.
phone muted. Sorry.
Oh,
Hello.
okay.
Welcome again, everybody.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let everybody know that there is a screen on the left of your screen. There is a little chat area, and if you have any technical difficulties or anything, you can go ahead and send me a message through there. Otherwise, you could email me at nikki@valuehoundacademy.com.
Great. And so that's good. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, as I said, guys, I'm really excited to jump on this webinar and hopefully open your eyes to some of the opportunities that you have sitting in your business right now, so that you can become a breakout broker. I'm going to talk about some examples of people just like you that have become breakout brokers, because really you guys have a front row seat to this game. You're in the game. And if you think about it, you're engaged and you kind of interact with the real estate market and the players that are involved every single day. I mean, every day you're involved with what's going on with the real estate market. And I want to expose you to some of those opportunities that you have in your business. And so we're going to talk about that as we roll out through this webinar. But I want you to make sure that you stay tuned throughout this webinar, and towards the end, I'm going to try and make it kind of participatory, where you can ask some questions and take some polls and so forth. I've got some free resources when we get towards the end of the webinar that I want to give you that will help you with your business. But as we start to roll out and talk about what's going to be in this Breakout Broker webinar, the types of things I want to teach you is I want to show you that there's a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of wasted opportunities in your business over the last few years, and I'm going to shed some light on that, on how you've missed some opportunities to really build your wealth because you're in the game. And to do that, again, I want to open your eyes. I want to show you some of the hidden assets. We got a little exercise that we're going to do where we're going to kind of dig into and talk about some of the hidden assets in your business. And then we're going to talk about a new business model, a new wealth building model that you're going to use. It's a pretty simple model. It's pretty basic, something that I uncovered, but we're going to talk about it. And then I'm going to give you a challenge. Yeah, I want to give you a challenge. I want to give you a kind of a friendly kick in the butt and kind of give you a target to shoot for your getting your first deal done. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, getting our first deal done. Once we get our first deal done, everything becomes a little bit easier for us. And so we're going to be talking about how you can take your existing business, some of the things that you may not see as hidden assets in your business, and I'm going to shed some light on it. And then we're going to take and package it all up so you can start buying and syndicating some of the great deals you come across. And I'm hoping that's what we're going to be talking about and getting some more details over the next hour plus. You know, it could be a maximum hour and a half. I don't want to take too much of you guys' time. We're going to have a little Q&A at the end. Hopefully we have enough time. And Nikki's going to talk about that in a little bit on how we actually access that. But I can tell you, I'm really excited about today's webinar because, guys, I was pretty much just like you. Just like you. I mean, I started my real estate career back in the mid-'80s. I started as a commercial real estate broker and eventually got into property management, where I started my own company. And I got paid fees. I got paid fees and management fees for putting deals together and managing deals. I worked down in Newport Beach, California. I specialized out of the gate office buildings, got into commercial retail properties and also apartment buildings. And I had the same struggles that many of you are probably going through, some of the same issues. I mean, I pretty much been there, done that, and I know what you guys are going through. I've been a broker. I've been a property manager. And so I understand some of this stuff, and I've worked my ass off. I worked my ass off for property owners, for tenants. I'm trying to place tenants, and so, sometimes fighting just to get my fee. I mean, heck, I remember back in the 1980s. I was working on a 240 unit apartment property, and I pretty much got thrown a bone. I got a $2,000 fee on a 240 unit deal that I didn't really have much to stand on to try and pursue legal action. But as real estate brokers, we know sometimes we got to fight for our fees, and working 70 hours a week, working my buns off, relentlessly cold calling owners, trying to get these listings. And geez, I could tell you many stories that I went through, but what kind of bothered me is I was spending all my time finding great deals for my clients and making them money. Yeah, I got paid a fee for doing that, and granted, it was a nice fee, but pretty much I was making some of my syndicator clients, 10 times what I could have made myself. I was making six figures on my commission job, which was nice, but at the end of the day, I really had nothing to show for it. It was, nothing. I mean, we even though we make decent money, we spend that money. And so I called myself a rich ditch digger. A rich ditch digger. I was working my buns off. Granted, I was making nice money, and that's why I was a rich ditch digger, but if I didn't work, I didn't get paid. I worked 70 hours digging ditches. I was a rich ditch digger. I don't know, it might sound familiar to you, some of the things that you guys are working through in your business, but you got to work to get paid. It's hard to leverage yourself. And so we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do in your business to start leveraging your business so that money's being made for you. It's growing. It's equity pieces that we're going to talk about. And so I found out, working with a lot of the syndicators, that getting rich wasn't really the end game. The end game was all about getting wealthy. And many of you may know who Trammell Crow is. He was a big, started industrial space back in Dallas, Texas, building and syndicating industrial buildings. Eventually got into office doing other commercial properties. But he always said that you can get rich selling real estate, but you get wealthy owning it. You get wealthy owning it. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, about syndicating some of the deals that you come across. And what I basically learned from a lot of my syndicator clients was that my real estate business was a launching pad. It was a launching pad for me to start buying my own deals with investors and start building my wealth. I found that I had a lot of the assets that we don't see maybe today that I learned about that are sitting in my business that I could actually leverage into some of the great deals that I came across, because every once in a while I came across a great deal. And so what I found out was that it's not about getting rich. It's not about you going out and first get in the real estate business about getting rich. It's about getting wealthy. It's about getting wealthy. So back in 1987, I broke out. I finally took my business to the next level and start syndicating my own deals. And so what I want to talk about in today's webinar is kind of that new business model. That new business model. I want to talk about, some of the things that you can start doing differently and how you look at your business a little bit differently and start to break out and become your own wealthy syndicator. And what we're going to do is we're going to reinvent your business. You're going to have a reinvented business model, invented business model. And what we're going to do is we're going to uncover some of the diamonds that you have sitting in your business. I'm going to show you some case studies of other real estate professionals who broke out, that discovered those diamonds. I mean, they're right there, guys, some of the opportunities in your business. And those diamonds aren't going tapped. They're not being utilized. They're kind of just sitting there idle. They're dead. Dead as a doornail. Not being taken advantage of. And so what I want to do is I want you to start to notice those things so that you can start uncovering those great opportunities in your business. Because if you really think about it, you have an advantage. You're a real estate pro. You have a huge advantage to build your wealth. And so my goal is for you is to start to build these packages so that you can build your wealth. I want you to capitalize on some of those great diamonds, those opportunities in your business. They're sitting right there. I want to expose you to some of those opportunities so that you can become the wealthy syndicator, not the rich ditch digger. I mean, think about it. These opportunities, and we're going to go through an exercise, are really tapping you on the shoulder. They're saying, "Hey, here's an opportunity," and because we're in the profession we are in, we don't see these opportunities. And they're staring right at you. They're right there. But the problem is we don't see some of those opportunities. We don't see some of those opportunities. And so I want you to check this out right here. Look at this picture closely. I want you to dig in. I want you to tell me what you see. Because as a breakout broker, you got to start looking at things a little bit differently. You got to start seeing opportunities. So as you look at that picture, what are you seeing? How many of you have seen beans, right? Coffee beans. But there's something else in that picture. Maybe some of you have seen this before. There's something else in this picture. I want you to look closely. Go ahead and type in the comment section right there. Tell me what you're seeing. I want to see some feedback from you guys. If you're looking closely, what are you seeing? Aha. Somebody's got it. From Michigan, I can't see the name. Oh, it's Nick. Hey, Nick. You got it, Nick. Edward Kim sees bugs. Dark beans. Peter's got it. Looks like Mike's got it. Okay, so what we're seeing, guys, is this right down here. If you look closely, you can see this guy right there. It's a guy's head. It looks like a coffee bean, doesn't it? But we get so involved with our businesses, our daily business, that we don't see the types of opportunities that we have. All we see are coffee beans. That's all we see. We look at this thing, we see a mass of coffee beans. So my goal for you is to start looking at things a little bit differently. I want you to see these types of opportunities. And later on, I'm going to talk about this. We're going to get inside your business. We're going to look at some of the hidden assets that you have in your business. And I got 5 different areas for you to look in that you're going to start looking at things a little bit differently. I want you to start opening your eyes to these opportunities. And so if you look at this picture right here, what do you see? You see 2 heads looking at each other? You see a vase right down in here? Yeah. It depends on how you see it. It's all about how we see things. Here's a fun one right here. What do you see in this picture right here? I mean, most of us see like a half face, a guy's face looking at us. There's more to it. I want you to look hard for a second. Look right in the middle of his face. Which way is the guy looking? Can you see it? Go ahead and type it in there. See, Nick's got the answer. Mike's got it. Good job, baby. Right. Well, it took me a little bit longer. I guess not as smart as some of you guys. But, yeah, if you look closely at this picture, here's a guy that's looking left. You can see. If you look hard enough, you can see that he's looking left. And I want to show you another picture. How about this guy right here? What are you seeing? You're seeing a picture of a guy looking at you, half his face. Look hard. Right, I see some of you guys type it in there. We got Julian. We got Mike. You're right, guys. He's looking right. You can see. It's a little bit easier this time around because I had you look at the previous picture. Your eyes were kind of trained from the guy with the beard, the last guy. So the point is we can kind of train our eyes to see hidden things from us if we know what you're looking for. Here's a guy who knows what he's looking for. See him right there? He's focused on what he's seeing. He's seen Jesus. And there's different pictures of people that have seen Jesus in woodwork, the end of their bowl, on toast. I don't know about you, but over the years I've seen lots of pictures of people that actually they can sell it on eBay. Myself, I probably have seen similar types of pictures, but just haven't known it. Just haven't really seen those pictures of Jesus in my cereal or whatever, because I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't focused on seeing those types of pictures. Someone like this guy, though, who's trained and focused on seeing Jesus because it's important to him, we'll see lots of opportunities like this. You're going to see a lot of opportunities. We can be trained to see things like this, guys, that might be hidden to others. I think about the time I go hiking with my wife, and we have other couples and other guys. We hike in the deserts around here. And everybody's amazed at how many snakes and rabbits and coyotes and quails I see, because I got my camera and I am looking for that stuff. They're out there hiking, they got their headset on, and they're just kind of enjoying the weather, and they're not really looking for those opportunities. All they're seeing is all the beans. But I know they're out there. They're sitting there staring at us. And so I'm looking for those types of things. And so it's how you look at things are the opportunities that are there for you to take advantage of. And so we're going to talk about looking at things in your business. I'll tell you a little story here. Here's a guy that played a piano. He played a piano in a bar, and he was a pretty good piano player. In fact, he was a great piano player. People would come out to the bar day in and day out to listen to this guy play his piano. But one night, a regular customer, a guy that came all the time, kind of got tired of the piano, and he wanted to hear this guy sing a little bit. And so he yelled to him and said, "Hey, man, don't just play a piano, play a song." And the guy playing the piano yelled back and says, "I don't sing." Customer got a little bit upset and got persistent and told the bartender, says, "Hey, man, we listen to this guy every day play the piano. We want to hear him sing." So the bartender shouted across the room and said, "Hey, buddy, if you want to get paid, sing a song. The customers are asking you to sing." So he did. He sang a song. A piano player who had never sung in public did so for the very first time. Nobody had ever heard the song Mona Lisa sung the way it was sung that night by Nat King Cole. He had a hidden asset that was within him, and he may have never known that if he wouldn't have sung. He might have been this no-name piano player that's playing at no-name bars for the rest of his life, but because he sang, he went on to become one of the best-known entertainers in the world. In the world. And you know, you have hidden assets right now in your business that aren't being used. You just can't see them. And so my goal is for you to start seeing some of these hidden assets. And so what I want to do is this webinar that we're on, I don't want to waste anybody's time. And so I want to make sure you're in the right place. And so this webinar is for you if you're a service provider. You're in the real estate business. You're a real estate professional. Real estate's your game. That's who I'm aiming this training to. I mean, you might be a real estate agent who puts together buyers and sellers, gets listings with sellers, and goes out and finds buyers. Or maybe you're a leasing agent who works with businesses who need space, and you get paid a commission to do that. Or maybe you're a loan agent who works with property owners looking to refinance or finance their properties. Or maybe you're a real estate executive working for a real estate company. In some part, property management, acquisitions, accounting, whatever, but you're working for a real estate company in the investment business. Or maybe you're a property manager who manages properties for investors, owners. You're in the trenches doing the blocking and tackling. I mean, you're in the game. This is your game. Maybe you're an investor. Maybe you have single family houses and you're just looking to step up and start doing commercial properties. I mean, you're in the game. This is something you're doing. Maybe you're an attorney. A lot of attorneys get into syndication, and you're in the game. Or you're a consultant. Or maybe you're a construction guy, and you work with property owners. You work with property managers. You're in the game. I've got a client I work with that's a construction guy. I mean, this seminar is for you, and this workshop's for you if you're a real estate professional. So if you're not in one of these trades and real estate is not your game, then save yourself some time, and this webinar is not for you, and you just jump off the call. Make it easy on yourself. But if you're a real estate professional, I'm speaking right at you guys. I'm talking to you. And so what I want to do is I want to take a quick poll. If Nikki can throw up a poll here, I want to get an idea of the types of real estate pros we have on this webinar. What are some of the professions that you're doing, you're involved with? What areas? Are you a real estate agent, loan agent, executive? What are you?
Yeah, Craig, I just wanted to tell everybody that there was only room for 5 answers here.
Okay.
And I was going to make one other, but I thought it'd be interesting if you are an other, which I just got a message from Peter Hitchens here in North Carolina, who's saying appraiser, because you didn't have that on your list. So if you are something else, go ahead and write it in on the left-hand side and we'll see those as well.
Yeah, let's take another 30 seconds to a minute to go ahead and put in there. Yeah, if you're involved with the real estate game and an appraiser is, you are. So we don't have it up there. There's a lot of different service providers that we should have put one up just for service providers, but this will give us a pretty good flavor on where we're standing. All right. How's it coming out, Nikki?
Well, right now we're at 58% real estate brokers. Interesting. And also we're at 34% investors. Investors. Okay. So some investors are either doing single family or do commercial, just want to learn how to step up and do some syndication. So that's good. Mm-hmm. We have about 4 or 5% property managers right now and a couple % of loan brokers. And then let's see, in our list here, we've got some consultants and some house flippers. Couple. House flippers. Okay, good. I see a commercial builder in there. We got Mike, the commercial builder. So also owns a brokerage company. So good. All right, so that gives us a flavor, guys. I want you to get your game faces on because we're gonna jump into the next section and we're gonna start talking about becoming a syndicator. Let me get to the next slide here. And as you look at this slide right here, you're thinking, gosh, Craig, what am I looking at a box for, right? Well, I want you to start seeing yourself as a packager. As a packager. I mean, you're going to use your business, its strengths, the assets, the opportunities that are all in your business to start packaging up deals. And so what you're going to do is you're going to find a deal and you're going to find the dollars. Those are the investors. And you're going to package that baby up into what we call a syndication. A syndication. And because of this package right here, you're going to start to build your wealth. So really, it's a wealth package. We're going to syndicate our business. And if you look at some of the buildings that you can see in the background here, I mean, some of these bigger buildings, this could be anywhere. I want you to pretend, for example, maybe this is New York. I mean, let's just talk about some billionaires right here, right? Guys that got started just like you. Let's just say this is New York. And one of those buildings, this baby right here, is Trump Towers, New York. Donald Trump, right? He got started as a real estate investor, took his dad's money and started investing in property, started multifamily actually, and then started syndicating deals, bigger deals. He started bringing in investors. Let's say we're in Chicago. We got Sam Zell. Let's say this is a building right here that he has syndicated. He's put a package together of dollars and deals. He got started as he was a property manager that eventually started to syndicate his own deals. Or we got another deal. Maybe we're out in Las Vegas. And Steve Wynn, right? All those Wynn hotels are all syndicated. He raises money from investors. He packages these deals up. Well, these are all billionaires I'm talking about. And he got started the management business. Or let's say we had another building. This big one over here, it doesn't really mean much, but let's just say that we're out in Los Angeles now. If you remember the former owner, I guess he's deceased now, but Jerry Buss, the Lakers owner. Yeah, he started as a real estate broker. He started as a real estate broker, got into buying multifamily properties, and that's how he built up his wealth. All of you are seeing Donald Sterling in the news right now, the Clippers owner, and he got started in real estate. That's how he built all of his wealth. And so most people got started packaging up and syndicating their deals with backgrounds that are very similar to yours. You guys have the wealth code. You're already in the game, like these guys were in the game. You have an advantage over everybody. And so you have that experience. You have those talents, and you have a lot of resources that you can package up with these great deals that you find with some investors and start syndicating the great deals you find, so you start building your wealth. And so that's what I want you to think of yourself is as a packager. But your goal over the years is to accumulate lots of packages. Lots of packages. You can see those packages right there. That's over a career, but you got to get that first one done. Maybe it's that little small one at the top right there. And each one of those packages have a little equity piece built into it. These equity pieces are growing as you're owning the property before you sell it. I mean, this little small package might be a $50,000 package. You might have a $100,000 package over here that a syndication put together. Man, that's year 2. Or how about a $200,000 package sitting right there? Remember your package, dollars and deals. How about a $700,000 package? It's a bigger deal you did. Here's the big kahuna. Let's say you did a $1 million package, and I'm going to show you some examples of people. You guys are in the commercial real estate business. There's no reason why you can't do these packages earlier rather than later. But all of these packages are wealth building machines. It's something you can tap into right now. It's your game. Why not take some of the small fees you earn and turn them into back-end profits on some of these great deals and start building some of these packages? Why not? Why not start creating some of your own packages, like some of the guys we talked about earlier? I mean, there's lots of professionals in other industries doing the same thing. They're packaging dollars with deals together in a syndication. They're basically using their syndication business, their syndication, to build their wealth. And so I want to talk about a few examples that are in other industries that are doing the same thing. They're putting together syndications. So I'm going to get a little bit of white ink so you guys can see some of my writing here in the background. But let's take this import-export business. Right? Let's say we have broker Bob who gets paid a commission for connecting a seller in one country with a buyer in another country. And let's say he finds this amazing deal for, I don't know, water. I didn't spell it right. Water filters. Right? And let's say he finds a great deal, a container full, 25,000 cases at $25 per case. So if you do the math, that's $625,000 for this container full. Let's say he makes a 5% fee, and he makes $31,000. And he just brokers a deal. He makes it standard fee, and so he makes a nice brokerage fee for finding that deal. But Bob doesn't come across great deals like this very often. In fact, he knows that he can find a buyer for $75 a case. Problem is, Bob doesn't have 625 grand to buy that container. But what he can do is he can package this up with investors in a syndication. So let's see how it works out. So let's say Bob can buy this container for $625,000. $25 a case. Let's say he can sell the same container for $75 a case for $1.8 million. The profit on the deal for Bob and the investors, if you subtract 625 from $1.8 million, is $1,175,000. And let's say Bob he negotiated a deal where he gets 25% of the back end. 25% of that $1,175,000 is $290,000. I mean, it's almost 10 times his fee. This gets kind of a nice wealth building machine. So why not take those great deals? I'm not saying all the deals. Why not take that great deal? In this case, Bob came across a great deal and syndicate it. In fact, this is a friend of mine that did that. That works in the water filtration business. How about this professional here? Let's say we're in the antique business. And let's say we got broker Richard, who, again, gets paid a commission for connecting an antique seller and a buyer together. Let's say that Richard finds an estate sale he can buy for $30,000. It's a mixed bag of stuff. And let's say he gets the standard 10% commission. And his fee on this deal, if he were to broker it, is $3,000. Richard would really like to buy this because he knows that he can sell it to an antique retail store for $100,000. Problem is, like we had the last example, he doesn't have $30,000. So what he's going to do is he's going to package this up into a syndication. He's going to buy the bulk estate sale for $30,000. He's going to sell it for $100,000. And he's going to make a profit on the deal of $70,000. $70,000. And let's say Richard's profit split on this deal is 50%. Right? So that means Richard makes $35,000. Almost 10 times. Almost 10 times. This is a real deal, I know, because I was the investor on this deal. I came up with the $30,000. And so this can be done in this industry. Another wealth building machine. So let's take a look at here an aircraft broker. Right? Here's a professional that's out in the marketplace who comes across a great deal. Can't he use his experience and connections and resources to syndicate that deal with investors? Can he do that? Can he take his small fee and turn it into back-end profits like we talked about in the previous example? Can he do that? I mean, guys, again, I'm only talking about great deals. I'm only talking about great deals. And so this is just another example of how syndication can build your wealth for real estate professionals, experienced professionals in this case, in all industries. I mean, you're experienced in the real estate business. You're a real estate pro. Why can't you take real estate and do the same thing? And we're going to talk about that. But first, I want to talk about this stockbroker. Right? Yeah. Here's an experienced stockbroker. Check him out there. He's right in the middle of the game. See him right there? He's right in the middle of the action. He's a deal maker. All the players on the field, everything that's going on. He's just like you. The only difference is he's trading stocks. You guys are trading real estate. Bringing deals and dollars together, getting paid a fee, getting paid a commission. So let's have some fun with this guy here, with this stockbroker, right? Let's say that he has a client that calls him and says, hey, I want to buy some Bank of America stock symbol is BAC. It's trading right now for $5 per share. And I want to buy 500,000 shares. And so the total trade is $2.5 million. Let's say this broker gets paid a 2% fee, which works out to $50,000. Right? Well, let's say this guy with all his experience and contacts that he has that says, hey, I'm going to go out and start a hedge fund. It's a syndication. I'm going to start a syndication. I'm going to raise a pool of money. And I'm going to package up the investors that want to be in my syndication with the deals. And so let's take the same example. Let's say we're going to buy this hedge fund guy that just got started his business is going to buy 500,000 shares of BAC. All right? So let's say he buys for $2.5 million. He's going to sell at $15 a share 18 months later, which it went up there and past that per share. And that's what, 7.5 million. I'm trying to do the math here. And so his profit on the deal, 2.5 million minus 7.5 is, survey says, $5 million. Let's say that our broker gets 25% of that as the back end profits for putting the deal together. That means he's going to make $1.25 million, $1.25 million for putting this thing together, for syndicating this deal. So again, we got the $50,000 rich ditch digger. This is this guy here. He's a rich ditch digger. Got to work to get paid, or he could just go out and raise the money and let things work for him. Check this article out right here. I'll see some of the writing in the background. Let me erase some of the writing. So if you look at some of these guys right here, these are hedge fund managers. This was on CNBC last week. Top earning hedge fund managers. These are syndicators, and they're talking about wealth. It was hard to get it on the screen, guys, so I apologize. You can't see some of the words and numbers, but the top guy right here, right there, David Tepper. Last year, his salary was $3.5 billion. $3.5 billion. Stephen Cohen, 2.4. John Polson, 2.3, and so forth. Here's the guy at number 10 makes $600 million. The 28th guy, William Ackerman, made $285 million. And so these guys here are wealthy syndicators. They're putting together great deals. And this is something I want to show to you guys because this stockbroker is right in the middle of the trading floor. He's in the middle action. He has access to all the same resources that you have in your real estate business. He's a rich ditch digger. And I'm trying to open your eyes so that you guys can become wealthy syndicators. And so if you look at the next picture right there, we're in the real estate game. That's our industry. That's what we know. That's what we're good at. We can syndicate real estate, just like these other guys. And we can be good at it because it's what we know. It's who we know. It's who we are. We have the same opportunity to take advantage of our expertise, our connections, and our inside knowledge of all the opportunities in the marketplace to build our wealth. Every one of these properties in the background, you see right back here, were packaged up by a syndicator. They came from a background just like yours. They were you at one point until they finally broke out and changed their lives. Yeah, they didn't start buying these big old office buildings. Nah. They started small. In fact, I encourage you to start small. They found a small deal, small town America, put some investors together in the syndication, packaged that baby up, and it sits there. One day it goes to their retirement. And then they bought another deal and another deal. So I want you to take a second right now as we're talking about this, and I want you to do some thinking. I want you to think about 2013. Let's go back to 2013. And I want you to dig deep. I want you to think about one deal that you came across that was just a total stud, right? It had lots of value opportunity. It had lots of profit potential. I want you to think about that. Really think about what one deal, or maybe it was two deals, or maybe it was more, that you came across. And I want you to type that into the comments section. I want to see some of the number of deals that you guys came across that were studs back in 2013. Take a second. Just type that in there. How many great deals did you come across? Nice. Edward's got 2. Kevin's got 4. Mike had 0. Again, it's how you see things. We got 2s and 3s. So thanks, guys. I appreciate that. We got another 2 that's popping up from Mike out in Carlsbad. Ooh, I love Carlsbad. One of my favorite places to go. So the point being is there are opportunities right now that you're missing. You've missed these opportunities to build your wealth. But I got to tell you guys, it doesn't have to be that way. Take this missed opportunity right here, for example. See the property? This was Jeff. He came to me after he realized, gosh, I missed this great opportunity, Craig, to make a lot of money. And he wanted to start syndicating his own deals. And so I'm going to go through this example right here to show you a missed opportunity. And so this is a deal that Jeff found. It was a 35. I need to change the ink here. Hold on a second so you guys can see. It started writing in white on top of white. Nice job, Craigie boy. Okay, so this was a 35,000 square foot medical building, and he also had a 15,000 square foot retail center. Right there's the retail center. There's the medical office building on one lot, so to speak, put together. And so Jeff reached into his bag of many clients, like a lot of you guys have, and he found a syndicator. To buy the property for $5.5 million. $5.5 million. And so let's go through the math again like we did. So let's take Jeff, the rich ditch digger, and let's look at it, right? So let's say Jeff got a 3% commission on this. And 3% of $5.5 million is $165,000. Well, let's take a look at it from the wealthy syndicator standpoint. You're going to buy the property for $5.5 million. You're going to put in some renovations to the property. You got some TIs you got to add. You got to build out some space. You're going to have some holding cost. So let's just say you're all in at $6.5 million. It gets stabilized after, let's say, a year, 18 months. Property is now worth $11.5 million. Profit on this deal, as you can do the math, $5 million. And let's just say, typical profit split, let's say the split was 25% of the back end. That comes out to $1.25 million that Jeff lost. He lost that money. He got the $165,000 though, but he lost $1.25 million. Jeff had the deal. He had the tenants to fill the space. This was his deal. He had all the assets in his own business to syndicate this deal himself. He lost over $1 million. Over $1 million. I want you to think about how much money maybe you've lost on some of those great deals. I saw some 4s and 3s go up there. How much money have you lost on those great deals? I don't want you to miss any more great deals. I want you to start building your wealth. Building your wealth. Really, your business needs to undergo, as we can see right here, construction. And so I want you to reinvent your business like we talked about, and I want you to start creating packages. These wealth building packages using syndication. I want you to syndicate and package up that one great deal you come across this year. Just one. And we're going to show you some ways to open up your eyes, but just one. Next time you come across that stud, that great home run, Don't let her go. I want you to grab it. It's yours to round the bases and stomp on home plate. It's yours. It's in your business. Now, I want you to keep earning your fees and your commissions and your salary and whatever your profession you're in and how you get paid. That's okay. Keep doing that. But that one stud that you come across, it's yours to make a load of money, not your clients. I mean, talking about Jeff, that really upset him to make his client that much money, and he didn't see that there was an opportunity in his own business. All he saw were the coffee beans. And our goal is to accumulate lots of packages like this over the coming years. And you know, it's really pretty easy to do. I mean, sitting in your current business. So I want to tell you a little story. And maybe you've seen this book right here, right? You heard the story Acres of Diamonds? It's been around a long time, but it really applies to what we're doing. There's Russell Cronwell right there in the left-hand corner, and there's his book that he wrote, as you can see. Russell was a big-time giver. He was a Baptist minister. I mean, I don't know if you know, he started Temple University. You can see a picture right there. But he really got best known for his book, Acres of Diamonds. Acres of Diamonds. And the book's about an African guy who owns a farm, and he decides, hey, I want to become rich. I want to become wealthy. I'm going to go ahead and sell my farm to this guy. And so this African farmer goes on this huge search throughout the entire African continent trying to find diamonds. Turns out he didn't find any diamonds, but the guy he sold the farm to found acres of diamonds right in his own backyard. So the central idea to this book is you don't need to be out everywhere chasing all types of rabbits all over the place. The resources you have are right in your own business. I want you to dig in your own backyard. There's lots of diamonds right there. Lots of diamonds. So let's talk about places for you to dig in your business, right? You've got lots of hidden assets, resources. And so I want to share some of those places. And one of the biggest places for you to look right now is your current and past clients. This is the biggest place, especially you guys that work with clients, have huge assets to tap into to help you with that great deal you find. And they help you find off-market deals as well as investors. I had a client I work with in San Diego, a commercial real estate broker, who had 500 plus clients in his database. He raises all his money just from his previous clients. I work with another Phoenix industrial real estate leasing broker. He was actually a leasing broker who had done tons of leases. I mean, he had strong relationships with all the guys that he leased space for. But guess where he goes to find investment capital or to find new tenants for the vacant buildings he's syndicating? I mean, if you can find a vacant building that has an opportunity to fill it with tenants, and in your back pocket you have tenants to fill the space, how much value does that create for you? How much value does that create for your investors? If you remember, that's Jeff's case. He had in his back pocket, he had tenants lined up. Although he wasn't the syndicator in the deal, he still filled it up. And you guys have access to some of those tenants. You have current and past clients right now that are diamonds sitting in your business. And so I want to do one more survey. And I'm kind of curious, I want you to look in your business right now and think about clients that you have, current and past clients. How many do you think you have in your business? If you're just kind of guess, I mean, this is a ballpark. We're not doing a scientific thing here, but if you're just to think about how many people in your database right now do you have that you consider a previous or past client or a current client? Okay, I see some of the voting that's going on. Great job, guys. I'll just give you another second here to vote. Vote still coming in. Looks like a big percentage are 25 to 100. So all those opportunities right there are in your business right now. Every single one of those are an opportunity. If you just took 10% of whatever number you came up with, there's a lot of opportunities just at that 10% number. So I want you to start thinking about your current and past clients on how they can help you with what you're trying to do in your syndication business. When you come across a great deal, or maybe they can bring you a great deal, but typically these guys are going to be investors, on how they might be an investor in your deal, assuming you have an investment strategy that they buy into. Okay, so let's go ahead and stop the voting here. Good job. Again, it looks like everybody was pretty much in that 25 to 100 range. So the next big place for you guys to look are strategic alliances. This is a great way to find deals, and as well as dollars. I want you to think about some of the other real estate pros in your industry, some of the property managers or the loan agents, all the lists that we went through earlier who are right for this webinar, the real estate professionals, or potential strategic alliances, or maybe it's a government person, someone in the planning department. I mean, did you work with a key city planning official on a previous deal who might offer some important information on a future deal of yours? I mean, they would be someone in your business that you could tap into. Or maybe it's a property owner trying to finance a property with one of your buddy loan agents that's really not financeable, but it has a huge value add opportunity. And what if that buddy told you about that opportunity? Because you have the solution to his problem. There's lots of strategic alliances in your business right now, people you are working with side by side, that they understand what it is you're doing. You have an investment strategy. You're able to communicate what you're looking for. They're a great referral source. And once they get excited about what you're doing, they're a great dollar source as well. They'll become your investors. Next place to look are some of the business tools and intelligence opportunities you have. I mean, you might have this unique system to find deals, right? You're a hunting dog, and you can find these great deals. You get to these deals before everyone else. Maybe you don't think about this, but that's a valuable asset. That's a huge asset. I have one of my students, Neil, who gets to these deals before everybody else. I mean, that's a great thing to brag about to your potential investors. Investors know that you get these great deals before everybody else. It makes you look a little bit better. I mean, you might have this access to some market intelligence, for example. I mean, a lot of you heard of the TREP reports, or maybe you get CoStar, subscription to CoStar, or any of your local market reports, or product reports, or any of that kind of stuff. It's all great stuff to brag about. These are assets in your business that you can use to help you source deals and source dollars. Another big one right here. Some of your business associates and colleagues. I mean, look at some of the people you work with that are around you, that are in your sphere. They're great leads for deals and dollars. And since many real estate professionals are actually on the front line, they're in the trenches, they know everything that's going on. Everything. And so they're a great referral source for deals, profitable deals. Wealthy syndicator Pat Wakeman raised all his money for his first syndication from other brokers in his office. That's how he got his first deal done. It was his brokers in his office. It was his business associates and colleagues. And I don't know if you've done so. If you haven't done so, I recommend you go onto Value Hunt Academy and find his interview and listen to it, because he goes into a little bit of detail on how he raised his money from his commercial real estate broker colleagues. Okay? And your knowledge and experience. I mean, what's happening with your current clients? Are there opportunities sitting right now in your business that you don't see because you're a broker? And if you look at it from a principal standpoint, an owner standpoint, you might see an opportunity. How about a former client's son who just inherited a struggling property and may want to sell it? Or how about a property that you're managing? Let's say you're a property manager, and one of the properties in your portfolio has a lot of value add possibilities, and you know the owner's considering selling pretty soon. Yeah, I know these are two examples that I'm going to talk about here in a second that are real life case studies that were breakout brokers. They were just like you, but they looked inside their business and saw some opportunities and took advantage of it. They took action. But if you think about it, you guys really have a huge advantage to tap into. And so I want you to start thinking about some of those opportunities, because if you start looking at things a little bit differently, you know, we talked about the beans, right? Here we are again. Here's our guy down there. We're starting to look at things a little bit differently. Before, all we saw were the coffee beans, and now we're starting to see hidden opportunities. And it's the same in your business. It's the same thing. There are hidden opportunities I want you to start looking at. I want you to start seeing these things. I want you to start taking these opportunities and syndicating your own deals. Start putting together your own packages. Start building your wealth. But the first thing I want to really get into here is, you know, how does syndication work? And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I'm going to give you a big picture. I recently did a 20-plus minute video on the syndication process. So head on over to the Value Hunt Academy, watch that video, give you a little bit more detail. But for today's purposes, I want to talk about big picture how syndication works. So if you remember, we're packagers, right? We're packagers of dollars and deals. And the very first person we want to talk about is the syndicator. The syndicator, that's us. They're also called promoters. They're also called sponsors. But it's us. We're the ones putting the package together. And so what we need as part of that package is we need a deal. We got to find a deal. And once we find the deal, we're going to create our syndication. This is our partnership. And once we have our partnership put together, we're going to go out and find investors. We're going to present it to them. Could be one investor, could be multiple investors. But in this case right here, let's just say we have 3 investors. And what you're going to do is you're going to take and present your syndication to the investors, and the ones that are interested are going to fund your syndication. And once you have all the funds in the syndication, you're going to fund the deal. And you fund the deal, you get the deal closed. And that's what you've essentially done. You take some red ink here. And I want to show you what this package looks like, because that's all this thing is right here. It's a package. It's a package of the deal, and it's a package of the dollars. This is our package. And so there's a lot that goes into the deal part. I'll get some stuff popping up here on my screen. Sorry about that, guys. And the dollar part. This is what goes into our package, our syndication. And that's kind of our wealth building machine. But first I want to talk about, you know, we understand the process. And so, Craig, what's the best time to be syndicating these deals? What's the best time? Well, as you probably know, I'm not sharing any big surprise here. This is one of the best times to be a syndicator is right now. Right now. You're sitting on one of the best opportunities. In fact, I wrote a special report on real estate cycles, profiting from real estate cycles. And I want you to have access to it. This is one of the graphs in the report. And so to get that report, I want you to email Nikki. Let's change this back to black. I want you to email Nikki at valuehoundacademy.com. I want you to email her and ask for that special report, and she's going to send you the special report. But for today's purposes, I want you to look at this chart right here, and I want you to throw in the comment box real quick. We're not going to take much time. I want you to share with us where you see your real estate market, the property market, the property market, the product type market, whether you're apartments, shopping centers. Where are you in the real estate cycle? Just type that in there real quick. Where do you think you are in the real estate cycle? Oh, Doug's got toward the top expansion. Nice, Doug. I'm going to talk to you about that. Jeff says seller's market. We're at equilibrium. We're getting closer. We're in the recovery mode. Lionel, nice. Arizona. New construction cycle. Okay. So let me just talk about the different phases that you go through. And down below here, when you guys get in the special report, you can read about this. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, but that pretty much defines the cycle that we're in. But we have phase one is the new construction cycle. And that's when we get to the point where we have underproduced our supply. We have more demand than we have supply. So we start building like crazy. And we start building like crazy. And we get to phase two, and we get too much building. We have way more space available to rent than we have renters trying to rent space. So we call that negative absorption. We have negative absorption. That's the market saturation point. And in the down cycle, which is phase three, is we pretty much have gone past the point. We stopped building right there, and we've gotten down to the point the market's it's contracting. It's slowing down. And so everything gets tight. The economy is starting to go into recession. We get to the point where we start to come out of the recession, and the economy starts to pick up. We start to recover, and then we hit phase two. And phase two is the positive absorption cycle, and that's where we have more demand, more renters looking for new space being built. And that's how you measure it. Really, the economics are how much space is being built and how much space is being rented. And when you have more space being rented, the demand, then you have the supply of new space being built, you have positive absorption. And that's when the real market really starts to take off. And you get to the point of equilibrium is where those supply and demand equal each other. They're at equilibrium. You get to that point where we start building again. And we start going up here. This becomes phase one again. This is the new construction cycle. And so it goes full cycle. You can kind of see where we're at. Most markets are somewhere in here. Somewhere in here. And let me tell you why. Every market's different. Every market's local. And so I'm generalizing. So you might be somewhere in that circle. But every market's different. But if you look at where we've been, in some markets they've started to build again. But what's one of the biggest things that's holding us back? Financing. It's hard to get new construction financing right now, so it's holding down the supply. And we have the economy's picked up a little bit. We have demand picking up for new space. We don't have the supply coming on the market like we had years ago. And so we have a lot of positive absorption going on. We really haven't got to the point where we got the equilibrium. In some markets, we have gotten there. And like in Northern California, for example, they're going crazy up there. They're starting to build. And so they've kind of got into phase one. But most of us are in phase two. Most of the markets are in phase two. So I guess my takeaway here is I don't want to get too much into this, is that we are sitting on an unbelievable time over the next 4 to 5 years for you guys to capitalize and start syndicating your own deals because the timing's perfect. And so to do that, we need a model. We need a model. We need a new business model. And so what I want you to do in your current business right now, I want you to be full-time in your business. I want this syndication thing we're talking about here to be, this is a part-time gig. This isn't your full-time business. I want you to keep working your current business. But what I want you to do is when you come across that great deal, like we talked about, I want you to capitalize on that opportunity. I want you to capitalize on it. I want you to syndicate that great deal. I don't want you to miss the opportunity. When those good opportunities come along, they don't come along a lot. And when they do, I want you to take advantage of them. And I want you to leverage all the resources that you have in your business so that you can get the deal done. And so my goal for you guys is to do one deal in 1 year. One deal in 1 year. Come on. This is your game. This is what you do. You're in the middle of the action right now. Deals are tapping you on the shoulder saying, come on, grab me. It's time for you to start building your wealth. It's time for you to become a breakout broker. And I want to show you a couple case studies that exhibit this, right? Here's a property you're looking at right here. This is Kenneth's first syndication deal where he became a breakout broker. And so Ken owns the property management company. He runs a company that has a little over 2,000 units under management. And you're looking at one of the properties right there that he was managing that was in his portfolio, where he had a property owner of this property that was 180 units. Multifamily properties, you can see. that the property owner was undergoing a lawsuit. It was with a construction company that who originally built the property, built this multifamily property. And Ken was earning a property management fee of 3%. He was making about, $36,000 per year on the management fee. And this asset was sitting right in his business right now. And so I want to talk you through the scenario that Ken finally realized that this is a great opportunity. And so Ken offered to buy the property for $9 million. He's going to syndicate the deal. Doesn't have the money for the downstroke and the renovation costs. So let's look at the value add play. This is one of the great deals he came across that was in his business that he realized and he took advantage of. And so what he did when he took over the property, he took over the lawsuit, the construction lawsuit. He bought out. There was a in-place cable agreement that was about $3,000 a month to provide a cable for all the residents. So he bought out the cable contract for about $100,000. He took and added an additional $500K in renovations. Improved the property, interior and exterior. And because he was able to do that, he was able to raise the rents. He got the property stabilized 18 months. And he spent about $800,000 to do that. There were some carry costs, added renovations, the cable contract he bought out. And so after 18 months, the property's value was $13 million. And if you do the math, his basic profit on the deal was $9 million plus the $800,000 in renovations and carry costs and so forth. Money he came out of pocket, additional money. He's into it for $9.8 million. Well, it's worth $13 million, so his profit was $3.2 million. Ken had a 30% profit split. He got $960,000 of value that he created on his back-end pocket. That was a nice package for him to create. And so he traded a $36,000 annual fee for $960,000. But there's a way, guys, and I got another training video coming up. But I'm going to talk about how you get paid fees. And this guy here, Ken, he actually managed the property to go on to manage the property and got paid a 5% fee. He actually made more money on the deal. But just trying to show you that inside his own business, sitting right there, he started looking at things a little bit differently. Got aggressive and said, "Hey, you want to sell your property? I'll buy it for $9 million. I'll take over all the headaches you got, get you out of the business. I'll take it on." And so he bought that property and changed his life. And you guys have a lot of opportunities sitting in your business right now. I mean, I kind of round things off, and that's kind of a $1 million deal to me, pretty close to it. But he dug out that diamond on his own. He became the wealthy syndicator. Here's another deal right here. This is Tom. This is Tom's first deal where he became the breakout broker. Tom's a retail broker. And he's known this property owner right here that's owned this retail center, a 40,000-foot retail center. Known him for years. Unfortunately, the property owner died. He left the property to his son. And I got one of my best friends manages monies, and most of his clients are guys that own businesses. And every time these guys that start these businesses and make a lot of money, they give their businesses to the kids. Kids run it in the ground. And so that's what happened with this property. Kid takes it over, the son takes it over, and he runs this baby right smack into the ground. It's got a lot of deferred maintenance. He's got some vacancy. And so finally, the son calls Tom and says, "Hey, this thing's a pain in the butt. I'd like to sell it. I'll sell it for $5 million. $5 million. And Tom thinks for a second. Thinks, wow. I know of at least 10 qualified buyers that would snap this baby up in a heartbeat. But Tom stops and thinks and says, wait a second. Is this an opportunity that I can buy? I know if I put a little bit of TLC into this property, that the property is probably worth $7 million. I can fill it with some vacancy. I've already got some tenants lined up. I'm going to put about 200 grand into the property. This looks like a great opportunity for me to make some money. So Tom decides, hey, I'm going to syndicate this deal. I'm going to do this deal on my own. So he offers the son $4.5 million. Son takes it, takes the deal. Deal closes. Tom goes over goes on to take over the property. He leases some of the space to some people he knows. And $4.5 million, 200,000. Let's say that's $4.7 million. Let's just call that. Let's round it off. Let's keep it simple. $2 million profit. Tom negotiated a 40% back-end split. $800,000 that he made on this deal. This is one package you put together. This is one of the great deals. And if you would have got paid a commission, 3% on $4.5 million, let's just call it 150 grand. He traded it. Traded the fee for a package, a back-end profit. Back-end profit. This is a great wealth building machine, and all because he just tapped his own business. So I'm hoping you're starting to see the picture here, guys, that syndication is a great wealth building machine. It's a game you're already in. It's a game you're in the middle of. So I want to take a few seconds and look at these two buckets. So we have right here, we have bucket number one. Bucket number one. Let's call this our living bucket. This is a bucket where we got to generate some income. Oops. Our job is what generates that income. And our job pays the mortgage payment, pays utilities. We got to have a car payment, right? Got a car payment. We got food. We got entertainment. We got school. We got all kinds of things that goes into living for us. This is pretty much our bread and butter. Used a lot. The term is used a lot in real estate business, but this is our bread and butter that pays these things. And in bucket two, number two, let's call this our lifestyle bucket, right? There's income that we're going to generate here in this bucket. And this is from all the packages that we're going to put together. These types of packages are going to pay for our retirement, going to pay for some of the travel we want to do. That's a big thing that I do with my wife. Some of the vacations that you might want to go on. How about your kids' college? Or maybe you want to help other people. Maybe they got medical problems, or maybe your parents are getting old and you're going to have the parents' living costs. Maybe more time. This is my big one. My favorite word is freedom. The lifestyle gives you the freedom to do what you want when you want to do it. This bucket's paying for all those things. This bucket is the bucket we're trying to grow. Right there. Yeah, at some point, you might have some extra income to put into this bucket. But our goal is to build our bucket number two, because at some point in time, this bucket here will pay for our living expenses. With some of the fees that we're going to make off our syndication, we're going to make acquisition fees. We can make management fees, broker leasing fees, asset management fees, construction management fees. There's all types of fees that we can create and make in our bucket number two that will pay this right here. Here are living expenses, our bucket number one. So what I want to do is I want you to take a look at what that process might look at. Let's look at a big picture. And I'm hoping you can start to see the picture that we're talking about. But here's a big picture of how things might play out. It's kind of an example of this great wealth building machine that we're talking about, syndication. I've come up with this example. You might come up with a different one. But for illustration purposes, I want to come up with something so you can kind of get a picture of what this might look like. In this scenario right here, we're value investors, guys. We're the Value Hound Academy. We're only looking for great value opportunities. And so we're going to buy 5 properties. Years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna buy for 5 years. We're gonna buy properties. We're gonna go full cycle, and by year 8, we will have sold off our last property. And this is kind of what it looks like. Let's just say in year 1, you guys are real estate pros, so there's no way that you can't buy at least $1.5 million property. You're going to raise $500,000. You're going to pay yourself an acquisition fee of 3%. That's $45,000. You're going to also get paid a 2% asset management fee. That's $30,000. There's other types of fees that you can charge. You're not going to charge anything in this particular scenario. So the first year, you're going to make $75,000 just in fees, and you will have created that package, that equity package that's sitting there to be sold down here in year 4. So let's say we sell that property in year 4 for $2.1 million. That's about 40%. Remember, we're buying great deals. We're not just buying the average deal. Let's say we pay ourselves a 3% resale fee, or a real estate commission, and we make $63,000. And let's say we carve out 30% on the back end for ourselves. So that comes to 180 grand. 180 grand. So you can see this column right here. This is kind of the total income column. It starts to get bigger and bigger. One of the good things about the asset management fee, this one right here, is you get paid that every year. So every year as you start to grow down, the next year, it just builds on itself. And so when you get 3 and 4 deals put together, look at year 4. I mean, that gets pretty big just by asset management fees. And so over a period of time, you've bought, let's just say you buy one property here, $1.5 million. You buy a property here for $3 million. I mean, you're getting bigger. In year 3, you buy a $6 million property. In year 4, you buy a $12 million property. Maybe you buy 2 $6 million properties, but you're going to buy $12 million worth of property. And then in year 5, you're going to buy a $24 million property, or multiple properties that equal $24 million. And you're going to buy all those properties, and you're going to have them all sold by year 8. I don't know about you, but that's a good lifestyle. That's going to pay for a lot of the things that I want in my lifestyle. $12.6 million. You're going to get taxed on some of that, but there's a lot of ways to do tax-deferred exchanges to offset some of that stuff, which that's a whole other conversation. But $12.6 million. Pretty good wealth building machine. So I want to take a look at another example. It's basically the same example, but I've changed a few things. In this particular example, we're still going to buy the same amount of property, still going to raise the same amount of equity. We're going to buy the same number of properties all the way here, first 5 years, and then we're going to be out of the game year 8. I mean, this is a sample. You guys can come up with any sample you want, but I'm just saying, hey, for the next 8 years, market's going to be great, and we're going to make a lot of money. What does that picture look like? And so I've changed it here. So let's just say you get a 2% acquisition fee. Let's say we lower the back. We're going to sell a property in year 4. It's 30%. And let's say our back end profit's only 25%. We're not going to make any. We're going to make 0 resale fee. We're going to make 0 asset management fee. And so really, we're making we're making an acquisition fee, and we're getting 25% of the back end profits. And we do all these deals, 5 deals over 8 years. We buy them and we sell them, and we make $4.4 million. $4.4 million. And this is way scaled back. This is very conservative. I've got a group of guys that I worked with that started the syndication business last year, and actually they basically started right in this spot right here about year 3. I mean, you guys are in the business. There's no reason why you can't start deeper into this, but I'm just showing you a worst case scenario. And so you look at it like that. Put together your own scenario. I'm just trying to show you that if you look at this thing from a big picture standpoint, if you're going to syndicate your deals, you don't have to do anything fast. I'm just going to do 1 deal per year for the next 5 years. I'm going to get in. I'm going to get out. Thank you very much. And here it's an opportunity for you to do that. So I want to give you a challenge. Here's my challenge for you guys. It's the Breakout Broker Challenge to kind of get you started. It's a target. It's kind of a deadline too, and I guess it's obviously a challenge. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple. I want you to do 1 deal. 1 deal, 1 syndication deal. Doesn't have to be a big deal. In fact, like I talked about, I recommend you buying a smaller deal out of the gate. You don't need to become a zillionaire in 6 months. I just want you to do 1 deal. 1 frickin' deal. 1 deal. I want you to do it within 1 year, 12 months. I want you to do 1 deal in 1 year. I mean, you got what it takes to make this happen, guys. You can't blame anyone else but yourself. Ultimately, it's you. It's up to you. But unfortunately, I see a big problem. I see it all the time. Most real estate pros like you won't syndicate those great deals they find. It scares them. They're afraid. So I look at it and I say the one thing holding them back from reaching their full potential, from creating that lifestyle that they want, the one thing holding them back is fear. Fear of the syndication process. Sorry guys, but that's bullshit. The major transformation you have sitting on your plate right now, going from where you are in your job all the way over to an amazing lifestyle, and you're not going to take advantage of this huge opportunity just because you're afraid? I mean, if you don't want to do it, that's okay, but just because you're afraid, are you kidding me? Go find the help. Do whatever you need to do to get this going, because you can't blame anyone else but yourself. It's up to you. It's right there. It's sitting in your business today, right now. So, this is just a friendly kick in the butt, a little reminder that there's diamonds laying all over your business. They're all around you. It's up to you. It's up to you to make it happen. I mean, can you see that? You can, right? I want you to grab it. I want you to reinvent your business. I want you to start piling up as many packages as you want. Go ahead. Fill a full warehouse full of these babies. It's okay. But nothing's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen until you get your first deal done. I don't know if you heard the old scenario, to go from the East Coast to West Coast, to fly an airplane, a jumbo jet, to fly from Los Angeles to New York, uses 80% of its fuel just getting up to cruising altitude. And so your goal is to stay focused on getting that first deal done, because once you get that first deal done, everything comes into place. You can cruising altitude. So your challenge is one deal in 1 year. It's your time, guys. It's your time to break out. It's your time to make your life happen. Okay? So before we take some questions here, I do want to just offer you some more resources. And, some of the things that we have for you that will help you get you going. Obviously, I want to put the first one up here. Is I created a book called Syndication Wealth that talks a lot more about this. And, if you want to get this book, you email Nikki. I'll write this a little more legibly. Value Pound Academy. Well, it takes a lot of effort to do that, right? .com. Okay? It talks a whole process. I got 8-step process to syndicating. You have a whole process on how to raise money. Just email her. She'll give you the link to get that book. I also have one of my students, Adam Ross. He's a breakout broker. So, Adam Ross. I did an interview with him, and so we have an audio, and we also have the transcript. So you can either listen to it, we read it, or you can do both. And he pretty much created a couple $1 million in net worth in 9 months, him and his partner. And so they go through in detail some of the things they did, and it helped them, lessons they learned. And so I think it's a good starting point for you to get that interview. So what I want you to do to get that is to email Nikki. See it right there, Nikki@valuehoundacademy.com, and she's going to send you that. Okay? Another great place to get more resources is the Value Hound Academy, right? So I've got lots of stuff on there. I've been doing this for years. There's all kinds of educational training type material. There's videos, there's audios, there's some awesome interviews. I just told you about Pat Wakeman. You need to listen to that one. And there's lots of other types of resources there for you. Another thing, we have a money raising webinar. Got another webinar coming up next month on money raising. I mean, for those of you who don't really understand the money raising process, you're kind of scared to raise money from investors. Well, we got a webinar coming up next month that's going to uncover some of the money raising process. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail. It's covered a little bit in the book, the syndication book that I talked about, as you can see right there. But we're going to go a little bit more detail. So hold on to your shorts there. Nikki's going to be sending out an email to notify you when that opens up. And then finally, I say let's jump on the phone. If you're at that point in your business where you're looking for some coaching or a mentor, and you want to get serious about doing some of the syndication stuff, you're at a great point. And if you got the background, you have the experience, then let's just jump on the phone and talk. If you want to set up a meeting, you just contact Nikki. You got her email address right there, and she'll set up something up. So there you go, guys. I hope I gave you some great ideas, some stuff to think about. I'd like to open up the lines for some questions. I know that some of you have been entering some questions on the comment section. Nikki will help us out here and coordinate that. Nikki?
Yeah, Craig, gosh, great webinar. I know I've been getting a lot of compliments for you in the sidebar, and I know you've been so busy you can't read them, but it's good stuff. I just wanted to ask you if you could go back to on your screen there, because we had quite a few questions with the cycles chart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Flip back to that. We had a couple questions with regards to
that was.
phases.
Let's see if I can do that. I'll just go backwards. How about that?
Yeah, that works.
There we go. Okay, good.
If anybody has any further questions, go ahead and type them in. But I grabbed a couple off the chat, and one was, why are there two phases of phase two?
Two phases of phase two. Phase two is the market saturation phase. What other? I only see two there. So phase one is the new construction cycle. Phase two is the market saturation cycle. Phase three is the down cycle. Oh, sorry guys, that's supposed to be phase four. Good question.
Okay, that was a little there.
Good catch. Who was that? Someone's paying attention.
That was Mike from Chicago. Thanks,
nice
Mike.
job, Mike. Thank you for keeping me in line. Yeah, that's the phase four, and then we start over again with phase one right there. And this whole report is a great report. I wrote this thing, I think 2000, and it still applies today. And there's lots of great information for you guys to use. In fact, you're going to learn something, and you can also use it in your business, whatever you're doing with some of your clients and so forth. There's some information that you can use. So.
Okay, and then after phase three, yes, phase four, we got that corrected. I have another question that just rolled in. Is it your opinion that we are in phase four?
Yes, a big time. It depends on the market you're in. I don't know what market is in there.
Chicago.
Chicago, yeah. So Chicago is definitely in the absorption cycle, and again, it depends on what product type you're in. You're in apartments, office, retail. They're all in different cycles at different times, but generally, overall, you're in the absorption cycle. One of the things that's really held down new building is construction financing. It's really held it down a lot, and we haven't had a lot of new demand because businesses really haven't been expanding a lot. I like this real estate cycle. It's setting up for very slow growth. Because what typically happens, guys, is we get past equilibrium, like we're in the new construction cycle right here, and we start doing stupid stuff when we get here, man. There is so much overbuilding, it's just crazy. And so we get to the point where we start to tilt over. We're so far from that happening. We had so much over debt going on that we deleveraged a lot of assets. And so what really fuels the real estate market is capital. We're a capitalistic society. Capital drives everything. And the capital market has not been there. It's starting to come back. But when that capital market comes back and you start to see stupid stuff going on, then you're going to know you're getting towards the top of phase one, the construction cycle.
Wonderful. Got another question here from Nick from Michigan. When we are in phase two, the market saturation, what is your strategy? Do you still buy deals?
My strategy is to stay away from phase two. I do not like phase two because you're just starting to go down. I can get involved in the down cycle because now you're starting to do loan workouts. The down cycle, once we stop building and the economy's gone into recession, there's a lot of lenders that are more amiable to loan workouts, and so you can do more loan workouts in the down cycle. Let me put this thing up here. This is the best time to be a buyer. This is the best time to find value where you actually can buy something way below its replacement cost. Up in this area up in here, it's more the growth phase. And so you're really going to start to see rents take off in this phase right here. And so this is more about price. And so you create value through just buying something so cheap. This is more about growth because rents are going up so much, because the rents have to go up because they're building so much. Okay, good question.
Yes, I got another one here. How will higher interest rates affect real estate financing? From Jeff in Colorado.
Yeah, great question. I think interest rates are going to affect pricing a little bit. It's going to make cap rates go up a bit. Although we've been saying that for the last few years, it hasn't happened. I think we're in a whole different economy that we've never seen before. A lot of people say we're in we're worried about deflation, not so much inflation. So I really don't think that rates are going to take off like most people think. And I think what we're going to see, rents are going to go up so much that it's going to help offset some of the rate increases.
Wonderful. And I think one last one, unless somebody sneaks one in. Is there a typical length of time for each cycle? From Mike in Chicago.
It really varies, Mike. It just varies. On average, if you look over the last 50 years, it's typically been 6 years. So you have an up cycle 6 years, and then you get to the down cycle in 6 years. I mean, that's very bland, very generic. So it just depends on your local marketplace. And typically, when you get beat up so hard, like these assets have gotten smashed here in this great recession that we had, you typically see a long up cycle. You see a long upcycle. So I'm expecting to see a nice long upcycle because the growth it's being stepped on. We're not able to grow too fast, because when we grow too fast, rents start growing too much, asset prices start growing too much. We'd start doing stupid stuff, and none of that's happening right now. Until we get to the time we're doing stupid stuff, we have a long ways to go. And what's putting pressure on the growth is our economy's been a little bit slow, and the financing's hard to come by. So I think we got a nice run, and we've been in that nice run.
Okay. Art from New York. He wants to know what phase he's in right now in the Northeast.
What product type? Does it have as product type?
No. Can you let us know, Art, what product type you're speaking about? Retail.
Yeah, retail. So I think you're definitely absorption cycle. If you were in the multifamily sector, you might be in this right in here, just starting the new construction phase. But right now, retail's been lagging a little bit, so I think you're somewhere. I would say you're right in this area right here. From people I know, they're doing retail out there. Good question.
Perfect. So I've got a question from Ken here, real quick, and this could or couldn't apply to this chart here, but he's saying he talks to 20 buyers a week, and they're all looking for value-add deals. How do you differentiate yourself?
Well, that's a great point.
Yes, it is.
One of the things I teach is to come up with an investment strategy. To come up with something unique that's different than everybody else. Because everybody say, I'm going to buy this property, I'm going to paint it, put some landscaping in, raise rents, and that's everybody's doing that. That's not a strategy. What's a value add strategy? How can you add value? How can you buy something below intrinsic value? And when you become an expert in a market, when you become an expert in product type, and you know the products and opportunities out there, you can actually pay market price for a property, and it's a value-add property because it's your investment strategy that's going to add value to it. I mean, you may know of a property. Let's say you're buying a multifamily property in one sector of the town, and they're just getting ready to build a new sports arena in town, or they're just getting ready to add a bunch of jobs from a tax incentive that they did for the local city in that area that are bringing a lot of businesses into that local market, and it's going to bring a ton of demand in. And you know that, and so you start buying property. So you're on a light rail here in Phoenix. They built a light rail just recently, and if you owned land and started building on the light rail track where the stops were for the light rail where people got off to get in their cars, those property values almost doubled. And if you know that in advance, and you're a savvy market player, and you understand the market and the product type, and you know what's called an inefficient market. Inefficient market is mispriced assets. I mean, look at the S&P 500. There's Warren Buffett out there buys undervalued stocks in the S&P 500 because he understands what's undervalued because of what I just talked about. He knows where the business is going to be 2 and 3 years down the road. So you can buy a business that may not be undervalued now, but because your investment strategy is going to add value through it. And obviously there's opportunities in marketplaces to buy undervalued deals today. They're harder to find. 2 years ago they were easier to find. But I teach to come up with an investment strategy in your niche. Think about what I just talked about. One of these guys here that, if you're Tom and you bought a retail property and you bought it at market price was $4.5 million for a 40,000 square foot building. Well, it was 40% vacant. And then you have the tenants in your pocket to fill that building. And now it's worth $7 million because you put a couple bucks into it and you filled the place up. And that's a value add. You paid full price for it there. So it really comes down to your investment strategy and understanding how you're adding value. And that's a whole other subject to have a webinar on at some point. And it's one of the things we teach in the Wealthy Syndicator program. Good question. That's a question I get a lot, though.
Yep. So Mike was asking again, is with regards to a deal, is 25% a typical split for a sponsor? And we get that question a lot.
Yeah. And it depends. I know guys that if you find this unbelievable deal that has, if you're buying a deal for $4 million and it's worth $8 million, and like, for example, Jeff's deal, those are types of deals you can get 40 and 50% of the back end because they're such great deals. You're bringing a big value add deal to the table, and it's almost a guarantee. Typically, you're seeing 25 to 30% on the back ends. If you're brand new at syndication and you've never done a deal before and you don't have a track record, you're probably 20% to 25%. But as you've done that second and third deal, you're going to be 35 to 40%. So guys I just worked with that closed a deal, they were at 35%, and that was their first deal. So it depends on the deal, the quality deal you're bringing, and the amount of investors. If you have a lot of investors, it's easier to get a big back end. For example, some of the deals I do with big institutions that they bring 90% of the money to the table, they're sophisticated, they're professional guys, and it's harder to get more of the back end with them. But their equity is a guaranteed piece. So it just depends on your deal. But that's kind of the range I would expect on your first one, 20 to 25%, as high as 50% if it's a great deal.
Great. So, and I'm not sure if you answered this because I spaced out for 1 second. Sorry, Craig.
You spaced out?
Yeah, I did. Can you explain how these deals were funded and then paid out? And that must be referring to at the time when you were going over one of the deals.
Yes, most of the deals were paid with new financing. One of them was paid with, because I think I told you about 3 of them. I think 2 of them were new financing, and one of them was just a workout with the lender, taking over a loan. So the new loan process in today's marketplace, don't be afraid of that process. A lot of new real estate professionals are afraid because I got personal guarantees. I got to come up with certain amounts of money. There's some things at risk. But you be surprised if you come up with a good business plan and you're already in the business. I mean, we ask the typical real estate loan brokers all the time, hey, if you're a real estate broker, you're a property manager in the business, does that satisfy the experience criteria? And the answer is yes. And so don't be afraid of that process. But most of the stuff is being financed through new loans. A lot of it's not secondary. I wouldn't say hard money, but I would say bridge type financing, shorter term money.
Okay, we've got how much of a return are most investors looking for?
And again, it depends. Typically, if it's a value add deal where there's a little bit of hair on it, there's a little bit of risk, they're looking for probably 12 to 18% annualized returns. If it's a stabilized deal, they're probably looking from 8 to 12%. Ideally, if you can find a deal that's 20 plus, it just gives you more leverage.
Okay, and how do you typically split your cash flow in your deals, and do you structure preferred rate of returns for cash flow?
Good question, and again, it depends. There's no one answer. But if you're doing a retail deal and you're doing triple net leases, and there's just a couple of tenants in there, and you're buying on a low cap, and there's really not a lot of appreciation, you're going to participate more in the cash flow. So you can negotiate more cash flow up front. You can get 25% of the cash flow up to 20, in that range. Even in some cases, even more. If you're buying a property that's a value add deal that doesn't have a lot of cash flow, that may take a year to get stabilized. In fact, you may have reserves set aside to support the property carrying costs. You're not going to get any of the cash flow. And so, it depends on the type of deal. But I would expect in most deals, you're going to get maybe some of the cash flow. You're going to pay out a preferred return in the marketplace. It's about 8%. Again, it depends on the risk. If it's a higher risk deal, maybe it's 10. Pretty rare at 10, but typically 8%.
Great. And do lenders require sponsors to have certain net worths or amount of personal reserves?
Great question. In some cases, yes. It depends on the type of money you get. And so if you're getting a bridge type loan, which is maybe a 2-year loan, they're more entrepreneurial, so they don't require those types of things. If you're getting a new first loan and it's a low risk type loan, they do require a certain net worth. They do require some extra stuff. But most of the guys I work with aren't doing those. And typically, what you're doing is you're buying a property that has some sort of value add component. You're putting on short-term money. You're doing your rehab process. You're doing your value creation. In a couple, 2 years, 3 years maybe, you're going to refinance that short-term loan out, and you're going to put one of those loans on there. And so you'll be in a better position where they won't require as much of net worth criteria. Good question.
Yes, and someone's asking about what you think about the hotel market nationally.
I think the hotel market's good as the economy comes back. I'm not a big hotel guy, so I can't give you a lot of advice on that. But generally speaking, the hotel market, as the economy grows, is coming back pretty strong. So I think it's down on the absorption cycle. It's a good place to be right now. They haven't built a lot of hotels.
Okay, so Gary is stating, sounds like this business model excludes single tenant net lease deals with investment grade tenants. Yeah,
that's what I was talking about. If you're buying a retail property and it's single tenant, or maybe it's got 2 tenants in there, where you're buying basically a treasury note at a cap rate of 4% like that, or 5%, there's not a lot of back end. It's all in the cash flow. And so it's a harder process to get paid fees, right? Because the deals are so skinny. And so you just got to find the right opportunity. And I know a guy that I work with that has a certain business model that he's looking for these types of tenants where the leases are ready to roll, and he can negotiate higher rental rates. And so that's the value add opportunity for him. But generally speaking, they're a little tighter. Triple net lease deals are a little tighter.
What do you think about the multifamily deals in Dallas from Razzie?
Dallas market's hot. Ben Hart, hot. It didn't really hit much of the down cycle. It's a big growth market right now. I think they are in the new construction cycle. They're one of the hot markets right now. I think it's all about buying a property and finding a market. Maybe you find a property the guy's owned the property for 10 years or 12 years or something like this, and he's always wanted a high occupancy and hasn't raised rents. And so you're going to go in there thinking that, hey, I'm going to put a couple bucks in here and I got a chance to raise rents, and you're going to get some increase in your NOI, which will increase the value. So I do like the Dallas market for those types of plays. There's different strategies for different times, and those are the types of markets where you can go into certain areas and do redevelopment in urban areas is a good market for that.
Wesley from Illinois is asking, what legal entity do you need to create a syndication?
You can create any entity you want. Typically, what's created, the most standard one is the LLC, because LLC provides you with, the partnership benefits as well as the corporate benefits. I'm not an attorney, so I recommend you talk to an attorney, but typically that's what everybody's doing is this LLC. And that they create an LLC for the property. That's the partnership LLC. And then you as a syndicator will create another LLC or another entity that will be the sponsor, will be the managing member of that syndication entity.
Okay, Craig, do you like mixed-use development syndications?
I do, especially in this economy. If you're in a growing economy and starting to hit the new construction phase, where it's not all about just buying on price, but there's ways to add value, and mixed use is a great opportunity, especially because everybody's moving from the outskirts, the urban areas. They're moving inside. They're moving to the urban areas, and so there's tons of opportunities in there. And I talk about how guys take old industrial buildings and convert them into self-storage, convert into multifamily in the urban areas, and do lots of mixed use between retail and multifamily. And so those are done in the urban areas, and as those urban areas start to redevelop and the economy gets stronger, they're ideal candidates for those types of markets. And again, that comes down to your investment strategy, right? So if you have that investment strategy and you know your marketplace, when those opportunities come up, you can find some inefficient pricing. All right, let's take a couple more here. I'm way beyond an hour and a half.
Yeah, I've got a couple people that have asked if we're going to have this available later, and we are considering it since we had such a high turnout, and some people also didn't get to make it. So
yeah, I just like to add, Nikki, that I really wanted people to show up. I wanted to show some interest in this and have some sort of commitment. to changing their life, changing their business. And I didn't want to have a recording, but we had so many people sign up. We maxed out. A lot of people couldn't even get on the call because our any meeting webinar service that we just got, kind of like it. But anyways, any meeting service we got only allows us to have 200 people. So I feel bad for some of the people that didn't get in. So we're thinking about opening it up. If we do, it'll just be for a short time.
Yeah, that's combined between the phone and the internet. So
yeah. And we're going to do this webinar. This is important to me as a person because I'm trying to get people to open their eyes. To have this webinar a few times throughout the year. I'm going to be talking about raising money. I'm going to be talking about the actual syndication process from the beginning to the middle to the end on different webinars. But this particular one, I'm going to have multiple times because you can't do anything till you finally say, okay, I need to start doing this. You got to have that first step, just like an alcoholic, that you're never going to stop changing your life until you really agree that, hey, I am an alcoholic. So you have to come to the realization that I need to start doing this stuff. And so that's what this is all about, to say how you need to start doing this. And then once you're willing to have that mind frame, the other webinars we have will make more sense. And so we are going to have these because I'm all about changing people's mind.
Okay, with regard to the case studies that you shared, can you be a little more specific on how a sponsor and investor got paid and when they were paid?
Okay, so there's a lot that goes into that, but to briefly put it, the sponsor puts the package together, right? They go out and they hire a service to create the syndication. They had to go find the deal. They got to find the investors. They got to package it all up. They got to work the deal to get it closed. They got to work all the investors. They got to do all that stuff. There's a lot of time goes into that. In fact, one of my students, they were getting paid a $35,000 fee, $35,000 fee on a, I think it was a $1.7 million deal. And I said, man, you guys need to get more of a fee because you're spending a lot of time. And they ended up changing the fee. They raised it up to $100,000 flat on their $1.7 million deal. And they went back to the investors and changed their deal, and all the investors are okay with it because you spend a lot of time doing this stuff. And so you can get those types of acquisition fees. If you're going to oversee an asset management fee, those are fees you pay yourself. The acquisition fee you pay yourself. It could be either out of escrow. You could submit an invoice to escrow, and escrow pays it to you, or you could just pay it out of the partnership account, the syndication account, to pay yourself. The same thing with the asset management fee. If you're going to manage the property, you're going to have a property account, an operations account that you're going to pay your monthly fee out of that account. Or if you have some vacant space and you're a leasing broker and you actually lease the space and you get paid a leasing broker fee, you're going to pay yourself out of the operation account. In some cases, they pay it out of the partnership account, but either way. So that's how some of the fees get paid. All the money that goes into the partnership account each month, the property management company deposits money into the partnership account. Every quarter, you're going to take and write a check to your investors. Assuming if it's cash flowing, if it's more of a value add deal, maybe it takes you 12 months before you start doing that. But those are the types of deals we have big value creation, big appreciation. I think did I answer that good enough?
Excellent.
Okay.
So I guess
one more.
I'm going to combine a couple people's questions into one sort of. Someone was saying they relocated to the Pacific Northwest a couple years ago, so they're having to find new investors cold. And another person's asking, do you suggest that new syndicators work locally first?
Guys, that's a good question. I get asked that a lot. I'm a big fan of being local. Now, not in all cases that works, but if that's the first option, I would go that route, because if you're a new syndicator and you got a deal and you got a list of investors and you're new at this, it's easy for them to go out and see the property. They can go out and kick the tires themselves. They want to go out and look at the property. But if you're across the United States, it's too hard for them to get on a plane and go look at your deal. So it's harder for you. So it's easier if you're local. That being said, some markets and you're an expert in. Let's say you're in the Pacific Northwest. And you know the Dallas market really well. And so it's okay if that's your specialty and you have an expertise in that, and you know the marketplace, you know the players, it's okay for those types of people. But I recommend being local if you're just getting started. You can always expand into other markets once you're getting going, because the investors really won't want to go out and see the property as much. They'll just trust you. As far as being new to a local marketplace, again, it's all about getting set up and looking inside your business and getting to meet some of the people that you know in that local marketplace that are players in the marketplace. I mean, I recommend, one of the things you should do is go listen to the interview with Carlos Foz at the Value Academy. He's got two of them there. I don't remember which one it is, but I think it's the first one. Here's a guy that built his business in Dallas in 3 years to 4,500 units. And one of the core concepts for him, here's a guy that was a loan broker. I mean, he actually owned some houses in the house market, but he was a loan broker. Moved from the Northeast to Dallas, started syndicating deals in Dallas. And the one core principle that helped him raise all his money was he had meetings 3 times a week and more at his restaurant. What was it called? Maximo's Restaurant. And he'd just meet every day. He'd meet there for a meal or two and start talking about what he's doing. And that's how he built his investor database. And so I recommend you guys find your own Maximo's and just meet some people there. You're just talking about what it is. You're just talking about your strategy. You have his one-piece flyer about what he's doing. And he just started building up his database like that. And then once he had the database built up, and then he started finding deals because it's too hard to go out and find a deal first and then go to your database, try and raise the money because you're under time constraints. So ideally you try to create your database first, and that's a whole other thing we'll talk about probably next month. So, all right, guys, I think that's good. Any questions you have, if you want to email me, my email address is Craig, C-R-A-I-G, at valuehoundacademy.com. Be happy to answer any questions we can get to here. There's lots of stuff we want to help you with your business. I talked about that. If you're not sure what it is, just email Nikki, N-I-K-K-I, at Value Hound Academy, and she'll get that out to you. Look forward to the next opportunity we get a chance to get together. It'll be next month. We'll be talking about raising money. Any way we can help you out, whether it's on site or you're looking for some coaching, make sure you get a hold of us. And look forward to talking to you guys next time and helping you guys reach for the stars and become the best you can be. Talk to you later.
Thanks, everybody.